Hello everyone, welcome back. Let's discuss about the equilibrium of concurrent forces. What is that? Equilibrium of concurrent forces. So we'll be using the two terms here. One is called concurrent force and other one is the equilibrium point. What is that? Concurrent and equilibrium. So first of all, let's discuss about what is meant by concurrent forces. For that, a simple example. A body is placed here on the floor. Okay, a body is placed on the floor. Just imagine a person is applying a force on this body. Okay, just imagine the person is pulling in this side. I'm writing it as F1. Maybe another person is applying a force in this direction. So say it as this is F2. Maybe another person is applying a force on this body. So all these forces are acting from the same point, and that point will be what? Center of gravity. So how many forces are acting here? Three forces. All these forces are acting on the same body, right? And all the forces are acting from the same point also. So forces acting on a body on the same point, there are many forces acting here, and these forces are called concurrent forces. Now let's discuss about what is meant by equilibrium condition. What is that? Equilibrium condition. A simple example. This is a body on the floor. Okay. Just imagine a person is applying 10 Newton towards the right. Maybe another person is applying 10 Newton towards left. Two forces are acting on the same body at the same point. Here what is the resultant force? Definitely you can say here the resultant force is equal to 10 minus 10, which is equal to 0. That means if the body will move in any direction? No. If the body was at rest, the body will continue in a state of rest because the resultant force is equal to 0. If the body was in motion, it will continue in that same state of motion because the resultant force is equal to 0. So here what is meant by equilibrium? There may be many forces are acting on the body, but the resultant force acting on the body, if it is equal to 0, we can say that the body is in equilibrium. So we have used two terms here. One is the equilibrium and other one is the concurrent forces. So let's discuss one simple example here. Consider this is a point O, maybe inside a body. There are three forces are acting on this same point. I'm just drawing here. This is the F1, okay, and say this is the F2, F1 and F2. Consider one more force is acting on the same point but in this direction. Say it as F3, okay. So how many forces are acting here? F1, F2, F3 on the same point on the same body. So in this case, these all forces are called concurrent forces. Now let's prove that this body is in equilibrium. Construct a parallelogram in this case. If you construct a parallelogram, we can calculate the resultant of F1 and F2. So what is the direction of resultant of F1 and F2? Definitely the diagonal. If you draw the diagonal, this will be equal to what? F1 vector plus F2 vector. In terms of vector, we can write so F1 vector and this is F2 vector and this is the F3 vector. So you can see here F3 vector is acting in this direction. The resultant of F1 and F2 acting in opposite direction. So if this body is said to be in equilibrium, we can prove like this. F3 vector should be equal to F1 vector plus F2 vector. If these magnitudes are equal, definitely the direction is opposite, right? So what will be the answer? The resultant force acting on the body will be equal to what? 0. So we have written there they are equal. But here both are acting in the opposite direction. So we can write here what? 1 minus sign. That means we can write here F1 plus F2 plus F3 should be equal to 0. So what we have proved here? There are three forces are acting on the body at the same point. So the resultant force is equal to what? 0. Now you just imagine there are many forces are acting. Okay. So if the body is said to be in equilibrium, we can say here the vector sum of all that forces, say it as F1 vector plus F2 vector plus F3 vector plus etc. Fn vector must be equal to 0, then we can say that the body is in equilibrium. So I hope it is clear what is the concurrent forces and what is meant by what? Equilibrium condition. Now you consider another example. This is a point O on a body. There are many forces are acting. Say it as one force is acting in this direction. It should be straight line, okay? So this is a one force. Say it as F1 vector. And another vector is acting on the same point. Say it as here, that is the F2 vector. Say it as one more vector is acting, that is F3 vector. So we can say here at the point O, there are three forces are acting, F1, F2, F3, and these all forces are called what? Concurrent forces. Now you just consider the angle between F1 and F2, say it as alpha. The angle between F1 and F3, say it as beta. And the angle between F3 and F2, say it as gamma. So we can redraw this diagram as like this. See this one? This is F1. Without changing the direction, I have shifted the F1 vector. And shift the F2 vector in such a way that the direction should not change as well as the magnitude should not change. So see, this is the F2 vector. Okay, while you are drawing, make sure that you are drawing a straight line with the ruler and a pencil. Okay. Now, if you shift the F3 vector without changing the direction, I can mark this as like this. So this is the F3 vector. Now, what is the angle between F1 and F2? That is alpha, right? So if I extend this F1 vector like this angle is given the alpha, correct? If you shift this line, the angle between F1 and F2 become what? Alpha. If you shift it means what? You are shifting F1. So if you are keeping F1 here, F2 here, that angle become what? Alpha. Now, what is the angle between F2 and F3? You see this one, F2 and F3 is equal to gamma. So if I extend this line, say it as I am just extending the F2, this angle become what? That is equal to gamma. Same way, what is the angle between F3 and F1? If you extend this one, the F3 and F1, the angle become what? Beta. Now, if this is alpha, what is this angle? We can write the 180 minus alpha. What is that? 180 minus alpha. You can write here pi minus alpha. So if this total angle is 180 and this is the gamma, so what is the remaining angle here? That is equal to pi minus gamma. Same way, if this is beta, here we can write here what? Pi minus beta. Pi minus beta. Okay. Now what you have to do here? Apply the law of sines. We have already learned about the law of sines, right? So we can write the law of sine as like this one. F1 divided by sine pi minus gamma. See this one, F1 opposite angle is pi minus gamma, which is equal to F2 divided by, what is opposite angle here? That is sine pi minus beta, which is equal to F3 divided by, what is opposite angle? Sine pi minus alpha. Sine pi minus alpha. So this is using which one? Law of sines. Now as you already know, sine 180 minus theta is equal to sine theta, right? So we can write here F1 divided by sine 180 minus gamma, that is equal to sine gamma, which is equal to F2 divided by sine 180 minus beta, which is equal to sine beta, which is equal to F3 divided by sine 180 minus alpha, that is equal to sine alpha. This is called Lami's theorem. This is called Lami's theorem. So this is the explanation for what? Lami's theorem. So why we have explained this Lami's theorem here? So this is the case here. If at one particular point O, there are many forces are acting and all the forces are said to be in equilibrium. So in this example, three forces are right. If it is in equilibrium, each force is proportional to, see this one? Each force is proportional to the sine of angle between the other two forces. So what is Lami's theorem is explaining here? When three forces are said to be in equilibrium, each force is directly proportional to sine of angle between the other two. So look at the picture. In this picture here, what you can see here, F1 is directly proportional to the angle between, sine of angle between other two forces, that is sine gamma. F2 is directly proportional to, what are the other two forces, F1 and F3. So it's directly proportional to sine beta. You can see here the equation. Same way F3 is directly proportional to sine alpha. So this is called what? Lami's theorem. Okay. I hope you understood this one. Thank you all of you.